of my job is to help people answer uncomfortable questions. I ask my clients uncomfortable questions almost daily, and helping them come to some real answers that really do apply to them and will help them in their retirement is one of the main parts of my job. So we're going to discuss 4 of the big questions that I deal with people on every single day, and kind of what you might be able to use in your own thought process to get your own answers to those 4 questions. First, you've heard me talk about it. If you don't already have a copy of my book, Safe Money Retirement, Your Game Plan for Success, grab your own, safemoneyretirement.com or 833-413-SAFE. Get your own copy as soon as you can. There's no obligation. It's going to explain how a lot of these products you always hear me talking about work, how they can work for you, and how you can develop a plan with them, and also what it means to work with a certified financial fiduciary and all this other stuff. All right, so question number 1 that you need to think about for yourself. So don't just sit there and passively listen to this segment. I want you to think for yourself. Question number 1, what do you worry about that could derail your retirement plan? Think about that for yourself for a second. There's multiple risks. There's risk of the market going down. There's sequence of returns risk. For those of you that have read my book, that's what happened to my dad. The sooner once you enter retirement that there's a market downturn, if there's a market downturn in the first few years, it can totally almost kill your retirement and put you into a death spiral, which is what happened to my dad. Versus if there are down years further down the road, it doesn't have quite as much impact. There's a lot of other risks. There's inflation risk. I could name a whole bunch of different risks. But what is it specifically for you? What is it for you that keeps you up at night worrying about whether your plan is going to get you all the way from here to the end? What is it for you? So that's question number 2. Number 1, I'm sorry. Number 2, what are your expectations about how long you will live and what life will look like for you in later years? Now, this is an uncomfortable subject. Most people don't want to talk about how long they think they will live. And I talk to my clients a lot, depending on the person, but a lot in the difference between how old you are chronologically and how old you are biologically. For example, there was just an 89-year-old woman that just completed the Ironman competition. I couldn't do that. Most of y'all couldn't do that, and most of y'all aren't 89. So it really depends on where you're at, and that's one of the things that I actually work with my clients on is, okay, how long did your mom and dad live? How long have your brothers and sisters lived? Aunts and uncles, grandparents? What's the longevity look like? So we can kind of narrow in and focus in on how long we need to plan for you. If most everybody in your family is past in their 70s, doesn't mean you're not going to live past your 70s, but we don't have to be quite as concerned as someone like me whose family has all lived into at least their 80s and some their 90s. So that makes a big difference in when you're making the plan. So that's question number 2. Question number 3, what expectations do you have for any remaining wealth at the end of your life? This is a legacy question. This is something, again, most people don't want to think about, well, when I'm gone, the grandkids or whoever's going to get whatever's left, and, you know, good luck to them. Well, that's great. But what do you really want your legacy to be? Do you want all of that money to go to them and then they have to pay taxes on it over the next 10 years? Or would you prefer to be able to pass them a tax-free inheritance or legacy type of money? What is it that you want when you pass? What do you really want to happen that's a legacy that people will look back and say, my goodness, that person was amazing. Look at all that they did. Working on what you really want for your legacy and how can we do that? And it's not always one plan or another type of plan. Sometimes it is a life insurance plan. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's an annuity. Sometimes it's not. It depends on the situation and what's going to make the most sense for you in particular. So that right there is one big thing to think about. And then the last one, and this is the biggest one. If you had to make a choice between A, the security of having a steady amount of income to meet your key expenses throughout retirement, or B, having the possibility of growing your income or wealth while taking the risk that you may have to cut back on your spending if there's a market event or world event or who knows what else. Which one would you choose? So again, your choices are A, guaranteed fixed income security. You know you've got it. You may have a couple other smaller accounts that are continuing to grow that you can turn on later to offset inflation and offset cost of living and all that stuff. Would you rather have that, the security, or would you rather, possibly be able to take income from an account and hopefully have that account grow and be able to take even more income, but that be based on risk, at-risk accounts? There's no really right answer. It's different for everybody. Safe Money Retirement, the company that I created, is specifically for people that are looking for security. But let me tell you, that's not everybody. It may not be you, and that's fine if it's not you. But for those out there that want to have security, that want to know for sure they have X dollars coming in every month plus Social Security that's going to cover my expenses, and then I've got a little bit more over here growing that I can turn on in the future when I need it, and anything else is in growth plans, and those growth plans can't go down when the market goes down, they can only go up. All of that is what I do. Security, Safe Money Retirement. That's why I got a trademark for Safe Money Retirement. That's what this is. That's what I'm talking about. But it's not for everybody. But that's a decision that you have to make for yourself. So again, let's review real quick the 4 questions. What do you worry about that could derail your financial plan? And what can you do to fix it, I would even add. That's something that I will talk to you about when we sit down and chat. What can we do to overcome that fear of market risk? What can we do to overcome that potential sequence of returns risk, like what happened to my dad? What can we do to, whatever plug your information in there, what can we do to overcome your concern? Number 2, what are your expectations about how long you will live, and what does it look like in later years? Again, we're going to look at your family history. How long have they lived? How were they at the end? Was it bad? Was it fine? Did they go instantly? I mean, all those things. Number 3, what expectations do you have for any remaining wealth once you're gone? In other words, your legacy. What do you want your legacy to be? And let's plan for it now while you're here, while we can. And lastly, and most importantly, if you had to choose between security of having guaranteed amounts that are guaranteed, that will never go down, and then some other small accounts that can grow to overcome inflation and everything in a safe, secure, you know what it's going to do, contractually guaranteed basis, or B, would you rather have it in an account that is still at risk but has the chance to grow a whole lot when the market's up but can go down when the market's down and hope that you have enough income? Again, neither way is necessarily right or wrong. It's just what's right for you.
The preceding information does not represent tax, legal, or investment advice. Surrender charges apply to base contracts. Optional lifetime income benefit riders are used to calculate lifetime payments only and are not available for cash surrender or in a death benefit unless specified in the annuity contract. Fees may apply. Guarantees are based on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the insurance company. No information presented today should be acted upon without meeting with a qualified and licensed professional. Obviously, by calling us now, you are just taking the first step towards protecting your retirement. It's important that you read all insurance contract disclosures carefully before making a purchase decision. Rates and returns mentioned on this program are subject to change without notice.